Hi, guys. Welcome back, Naturally with Karen. And as I promised, I've been building on a couple of different live streams about our healing, my healing that I'm doing right now with adrenal fatigue, as well as your healing. And so, since a lot of folks didn't really ever see healing going on in their families, I gave a really easy to visualize example of how we can fall and skin our knee or skin our arm, and it'll scab and it'll dry up, and we start to heal. And then I spoke a little bit about, just to give you the thumbnail version, yesterday about reclusing, isolating, and avoiding behaviors, why these are related to wheat and thyroid deficiency and radiation, which causes a problem with our crops. In addition to the poor soil that we keep getting, it's getting worse year after year. These are things that are not hard to fix. We can put attention to these things and we can fix them. And so that's why I'm here. And so then today I wanted to talk about foods that, when everyone's kind of worrying, what am I going to do? And I don't have a lot of money to stock up on a ton of food. And maybe, like me in my 20s and 30s, I really wasn't the best at cooking and preparing food. And I certainly remember times of boiling pasta noodles and throwing sauce on the top and putting some gourmet Parmesan cheese and thinking, whoa, I've really, got to the pinnacle of being able to prepare my food. But in these times, we want to do our best to stay off of wheat. And so processed wheat, brominated wheat flour. So, one of the things you may not know that you're going to really appreciate, how you feel and how you're going to have less of an experience of anxiety and depression, is to try to stay off the pizza or to make your own. So this bag of Bob's Red Mill is about $4.99 if you went to like Cub Foods or Whole Foods, which I'm not going to recommend shopping at right now because I'm banned. I'm a non-wanting to participate in some of the foolishness. But if you're from the South, you know them as grits. And if you're from Italy, or, you're another part of the world, you'll know it as polenta. So it's got two different names: corn grits, polenta. This bag gives you about 17 servings. It actually has about 2 grams of protein in a serving. It has calcium and it has other, it's got fiber for sure. But the really cool thing about polenta is that, bless up, good to see you, Dread Electric. Hi there. The really cool thing about polenta is that it's really shelf stable for a long time. You can throw it in a bag if you're going to need to go out the door. You can easily use, like I use my electric teapot and I make the dogs a plant-based bowl with a little bit of meat on it, transitioning them and transitioning us out of buying all of this factory farmed animals that I don't want to support, but I also haven't made the dogs go like completely vegan. So they get a large plant-based bowl with real oats or sometimes a little bit of polenta in it. And I can heat up my electric tea kettle, pour it on there if I'm in a big rush, let it sit for a little bit, go into the bathroom and do the things I got to do, and in the first part of the day to get ready. And this will set up nicely. Now, Jamaicans, my son's father is Jamaican, and I learned a great deal about Jamaican and African cooking over the last few decades, African dance and African yoga. I love African culture. I really do. I love all the beautiful cultures. And so this is used to make what Bob Marley talked about, which is cornmeal porridge. And so even if you didn't have measuring cups, you could put this into a pot and you could use water, and then you could also use some coconut milk. You can use coconut milk out of the can. You can use water and a small can of coconut cream. You can be really innovative and take a brown coconut and process that and juice the meat inside so that you have pure coconut oil and cream. You can do anything, but what I'm getting to is that you can make a savory breakfast type porridge, a sweet breakfast type porridge with cinnamon and nutmeg and whatever you want to put in there, right? Maple syrup or honey and coconut milk or almond milk or hemp milk or cashew milk, hazelnut milk. I make all of them. I make what I have. So you can make a sweet porridge and you can make a savory dish, which is like what I made the other night on my Naturally with Karen Facebook page. I have pictures of it. I took one sweet onion, I sauteed it in a little bit. I had vegan butter, which I normally don't buy from Earth Balance because I'd made some cinnamon rolls and I needed to have that. So I thought, well, might as well use it up. Put that in the pan. I always buy the yellow sweet onions. Cut the whole onion because now I'm getting my quercetin, which helps to heal the body. Instead of swallowing that in another pill, I eat the onion regularly. The sulfur is also good for your hair, skin, and connective tissue. And then I put in whatever veggies I had. I chopped them up. I had some brown bella mushrooms, 4 of them, sliced them up small after my onions were sauteed and translucent, and put whatever else I want to put in there. Now I can just put that on top of my polenta. If you eat nutritional yeast, you can sprinkle a little bit of that on the top, which is a little bit cheesy. It is known to be a little bit of an excitotoxin, so you eat that at your own discretion. I used to eat a lot of it. Now I don't eat it very regularly or enjoy it on my food. Nutritional yeast flakes, also by Bob's Red Mill. But while I've avoided corn for a very, very long time, I like polenta. If you go to the grocery store, you can find a round tube of polenta, which is what I used to buy before I got brave enough to cook it. And that's like $5 and up for a tube that's probably like about this long. And so when you take the plastic wrapping off it, someone's already cooked it for you. Nothing wrong with that. I've done it before. It's a round kind of a log about so big for $5. So you can see you're getting a much better value. If you buy this online, it's $3.99. Okay. If you've got dogs, you've got the ability to, if shit did hit the fan, you've got the ability to help feed the dogs and keep everybody kind of filled up, because polenta is one of those things that was fed to Jamaican children and African children when times were very lean and they didn't have a lot of access to food, and it kept the weight on the body and it kept people feeling like they weren't just hungry all the time. So I enjoy the taste. I enjoy it with a little bit of Celtic sea salt in it. Celtic sea salt is actually really good for you. Sodium chloride, white table salt, not so much. So let's say you look in the back of your cupboard, because I like to eat things in the order in which they're going to decay. So if I look in the refrigerator and I think, I've got some asparagus in there right now for me, that I really do need to use up. And I'm perfectly fine eating asparagus raw, because I have a strong digestion even right now at this point in my life. I can also steam it with a little bit of water in the pan. And I can also cook up a cup of this with 3 cups of water, and I can put my steamed asparagus on the top with a little bit of salt, a little nutritional yeast, a little tiny pat of that vegan butter since I'm going to use it up anyway. I also like my polenta with capers. I love capers, and I love it when I find capers for like $1.99 a jar at the grocery store, and I'll get like 5 or 6 jars of capers when I can. Put them in the back of my cupboard, so while winter's here, I don't have to run out to the store all the time when it's really cold and snowy. One last thing I want to share is that I really love to support the business nuts.com. I don't get any remuneration, no payment or anything like that. But I found a really great deal, and I'm going to put the link down below as soon as I finish the video here. And it talks about getting what I'm going to do. It's organic grits polenta. The store I go to, since I'm banned at Whole Foods, Cub Foods, has been completely out of stock. I went there yesterday. They don't know when they're going to get it back in because of all this mass exodus to grab all the food, and people want to get things, stored up for themselves naturally. And so I found that nuts.com has a great deal on organic polenta at the 5 or 25 pound bag for a very good deal. So if you also live with canine companions, that maybe you can start to infuse just a little bit in their food. And at first, they may not really, it's not familiar. It's maybe not that they don't even not like it, but it's just that it's not familiar to them. So, Pablo, do you want to say goodbye? Pablo's sitting over here. There he is. And fire's on the ground, if you can see fire. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you today about polenta because I know that a lot of people are looking at these really expensive Patriot survival food packages. We're looking at products just being thrust at us, knowing that just about every single one of us has fear and anxiety right now. We're exhausted from thinking about what's next. Look at the election and the COVID, and I shouldn't even bring these things up. I personally am not worried about COVID. Again, I'm going to recommend that. Let me just grab my book here so I can show it to you. That's why I'm putting my exhausted face on the video here, is because I want to show you as I progress. My dreadlocks are coming in really nice. Let's look at this book again, Virus Mania, okay? If you want to know the real truth, read from doctors, directors of infectious disease, those employed at Harvard. Read the truth, and the truth, as Bob Marley said, will set you free. The truth will set you free. This is a rather thick book. What I will do as we progress, and I'm live more often, my life was really full of a lot of stress because my son got hijacked and roadblocked up on the opiate game, and he died. And it just about tore me apart. So I'm rebuilding after a couple of years of enormous sleep deficit. So these are the traps. So when the police, the medical doctors, the treatment centers don't know about vaccine injury, about the brain, about the level of trauma that our people are going through that are born from 1980 onward, especially. So the traumatized inner child that now becomes the critic and the judge, that now sabotages because it expects to be traumatized. I've been traumatized by knowing that a doctor would prescribe a drug that by design was put out there to hijack the limbic system, the amygdala, and for reasons that I'm going to disclose later. So if you haven't tried it, get yourself a bag of whatever you want to call grits or polenta. Or if you're like, well, I don't know, I don't know if I want to cook it, get one of those logs, round logs, pull back the plastic. It's already cooked for you. What I did to learn polenta, because I didn't know what it was until probably my 30s, I'm 59 now, is I cut the log so it was little round pieces, put a little parchment paper on the cookie sheet that you're going to put in the oven, put the round pieces down. If you're just making it for you, make 4 of them. If you're making appetizers, make more, cut the whole log maybe. You can put pesto on the top. You can put pasta sauce. You can put tomato sauce. You can put a little tiny bit of a vegan cream cheese and melt it on there. When they're out of the oven, it's got a little tiny bit of golden brown to it and it's heated up. You can put a fresh thin sliced tomato and some capers or a little bit of avocado. You can pick them up and eat them. They're delicious. So instead of, making the typical little bread pieces, you can make them with polenta. So when you cook your own and it sits on the stove after it's cooled off a little bit, it starts to harden. That's where you would have wanted to put it into that log or that bowl before it hardens all the way. Wrap it up with whatever you wrap it up with and put it in the refrigerator so you can slice it later, make it into something else. So you can make a little bit of extra. And with what you'll get online for $3.99, you'll be able to make lots and lots of those logs that you bought for $4 or $5.99 at the store. I hope this is helpful. And if it is, please remember to like it and subscribe it, because I would like to get to the place where we have 1,000 initially here as quickly as possible, so I can also do these outside on my phone. Thank you, and make it a great day.